The Senate is playing a dangerous fire game with the 14th Amendment, and the reason why I'd say that is because if you, for anybody who's smart enough to read the Constitution and amendments and everything, the 14th Amendment states that if a president participates in an insurrection, that they should be that they should be banned from holding office ever again. Since Trump participated in this insurrection, which means he encouraged it, then he should be banned from office and never to be allowed to serve again, which would be a good thing for us because then he couldn't fuck up any more than he has already. After a vote suggesting that about half of the Senate has constitutional or prudential concerns over the trial of the former squatter Trump, members are discussing what they call censure as an alternative. I previously supported a censure resolution, but this is censure with a twist. Senator Tim Kaine would add yet another controversy to any array of constitutional issues by electorally barring Trump under the 14th Amendment. With the snap impeachment and a retroactive Senate trial, the country needs another constitutional controversy like Wall Street needs another Reddit stock tip. Censure is not mentioned in the Constitution because it is a resolution with the view of Congress. But such a statement could allow for bipartisan condemnation. It also now seen as a type of shadow impeachment. A Senate trial could work to the advantage of Trump if it ends in an acquittal. But for the first time ever, the House used a snap impeachment and sent the Senate no record to support its article. As before, the Senate can refuse to call witnesses and vote on the record or lack thereof, meaning a brief trial and about half of the Senate rejecting the case. It has led some members back to censure as the effective substitute for conviction. Part of the controversy on this of the snap impeachment is using a trial solely for electoral disbarment. The Constitution refers to the trial as to decide on whether to remove the president, and so that leads some of us to doubt any retroactive trial. And while disbarment is an optional punishment for after removal, the Constitution limits the power of the Senate in impeachment trials to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Retroactive trials remain a close issue even for most scholars who have reached conclusions on either side. Now, Kaine and others suggest the Senate can avoid the need for the trial, but to achieve the same result by a majority vote on censure. The issue is the 14th Amendment section that bars people from holding office if they have encouraged in an insurrection or rebellion or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof, which is what Trump did. According to Kaine, his censure resolution would make two findings: that an insurrection and that the squatter Trump gave aid and comfort to the insurrectionists. And while this would be a workaround of an attainable impeachment conviction, it would be defended as part of the authority of Congress over any citizen under the 14th Amendment. But this has never been used to disqualify a former president, and it is not clear. But technically, Trump was never president; he was a squatter. But it is not clear that Congress has what they call carte blanche authority to bar citizens from office by a majority vote. The Constitution refers to individuals determined to have engaged in treasonous acts. Under this theory, it would be relatively close or easy to disqualify someone from office and declare him a traitor, which that's technically what Trump is, a traitor, but difficult to lift the electoral disbarment. And further, it would also flip the burden of the supermajority vote from a protection for the accused in impeachment trials into a barrier for those disenfranchised by Congress. Kaine is open about his motivation for an alternative that would impose, in my view, a similar consequence without a trial and supermajority vote. But that is why this tactic is so dangerous. The party in control could bar dozens of opponents from running for federal office, and some Democrats are now demanding that such action against Republicans who challenged the election of Joe Biden, and this is common in authoritarian countries such as Iran, where leaders often bar their opponents from office ever again. But Kaine could be making a case for Trump and claiming the 14th Amendment as an alternative to conviction at trial. The academics have echoed this view, and some insist Congress clearly has authority to bar Trump from office. Columbia University professor Eric Foner says that the 14th Amendment is very applicable and would only require a majority vote in Congress, and such statements leave little doubt that the motivation is to achieve the penalty of impeachment without the burden of a conviction. It would be a first impression for a court, but Trump would have a credible case. If he were to prevail, which hopefully he doesn't, he would cite the decision as vindication and perhaps enhance his claims of being an establishment target. When the 14th Amendment was ratified, it was easy to see its applicability to those who swore allegiance to the Confederacy or fought for it. A court today would face the issue of whether Congress has total discretion to make such a finding, or if, as I believe, it is a subject to judicial review. The framers, with their ban on bills of attainder, had opposed individual punishment that was meted out by Congress. Such bills were used in Great Britain to punish individuals through the Parliament rather than the courts. But years ago, people had litigated one of the few successful bills of the attainder cases in striking down the Elizabeth Morgan Act, which punished a client with stripping him of parental rights. This opposed the censure resolution. It would achieve the same purpose to mete out punishment by popular vote. But using the 14th Amendment is too clever by half. The raging politics it blinds many to what could be a dangerous precedent of barring opponents from office. Many people call for blacklist and retaliation against anyone complicit with Trump in the last 4 years, but such a power could be ripe for abuse. And there is an alternative, which is a censure resolution that can garner overwhelming support as a bipartisan condemnation, rather than a circumvention of impeachment. We can then leave the Constitution alone, and have the future of Trump to vote, and leave the future of Trump to voters and to history. But I'm all in favor of doing the 14th Amendment too to get him out of office.